And we are live another edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Nicholas Pavona, joined alongside as always by my co-host, Andrew Johnson. And Johnson, we now head into week number 9 of the National Football League season, and coming off of a week 8 that, I'm not going to lie, was not very memorable for some of the games that happened during the week. Some teams had some big injuries. Unfortunately for my team, one of those injuries happened to be one of their star players, which is still pissing me off at this point, but I digress. And other than that, like I said, a lot of the games that we had this past week in the NFL were a lot of blowouts. I think there was only maybe a couple games that were single digits or one possession scores. I'm looking at the slate quickly, and there was only one game, in fact, that was a one possession game. Every single game that we had this past week was a double digit blowout win for one team in particular. So you don't really see that often in the NFL, but that's indeed what happened this past week, and we'll cover up a little bit of some of the action that happened this past weekend, and then we'll go into our mushing hour where we'll have a nice loaded slate going in to week number 9.
Yeah, not much to discuss, but I think the big discussion is that Carson Wentz is now out for the season. The Chargers beat down the Vikings, and Carson Wentz injures himself in the process, and he's out for the year.
Yeah, it's back to J.J. McCarthy coming up this week for the Vikings, so they've been waiting for him to come back from his injury, and he'll be back and ready to go on Sunday. And this game was just a mess for the Vikings entirely. I mean, they really could not get anything going on both sides of the ball. They had an early pick six taken off the board after the ball was possessed, but it was because of the ground that made the interception happen. So the pick six got waved off. The Chargers then proceed to go down the field. They score a touchdown. And for the Chargers, this story of this game was about them. You know, Kamani Vidal, big game. Lad McConkey, big game. Aronde Gadsden, big game. As well as Keenan Allen. All of them with a monster performances, as well, of course, Justin Herbert. And they blow out the Vikings in this game 37-10. The big story after this game was, of course, as you mentioned, the Carson Wentz injury. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. So the Vikings are in a weird limbo right now where you saw McCarthy for a game and a half. Technically, he did play the second game fully, but he was injured throughout the entirety of that game. So we'll see what he does coming up on Sunday. A rare matchup where he's going to face his old stomping grounds in Michigan as he'll take on the Lions on Sunday. And yeah, they're just a weird team right now. They're not a bad team on paper, but the quarterback, room is very, very it's tough to tell and gauge, right, like where they're going from here. Like they're just kind of middle of the pack at this point.
Let's talk about Carson Wentz here for a second. Since leaving the Eagles in 2021, this is his fifth team, right? So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. He's all been on different teams.
Vikings.
It's Colts as a full-time starter. Then it was Washington as a part-time starter. Then it was backup for the Rams and the Chiefs. And then he was a full-time starter for the Vikings, and he got hurt again.
About those two sins.
And you do really feel bad because Carson Wentz is one of the biggest what-if stories in the NFL. Up until his injury, he was playing MVP caliber football. And he gets injured, and now it's his fifth team in 5 years, sixth team in 6 years. And if he gets signed next year, it's not going to be with the Vikings again. I doubt it. Now you have to kind of ask the question: is this the end for Carson Wentz?
I guess. I mean, it's not like he was going to be a starting quarterback going into next season anyway. I think the bigger pick.
Well, no, he had a legitimate chance to kind of like maybe have a Baker arc.
There's just no way.
No, he had a chance.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's just gone. Yeah. But
I think even if before the injury, there was no chance. There was no chance for him. The Vikings were the only team that would realistically maybe give him that chance because, let's face facts, they probably should have.
Raiders need a quarterback too.
Yeah, but
I'm saying if he was good this year, he could have got signed. He got a team. This was his proof deal.
Teams would be a fool to sign him. Is what I'm getting at, because he's essentially essentially what you're getting out of Geno Smith, which is what the Raiders have right now. Like you're in the same spot. where maybe they have one breakout performance year and then they just suck again, which is probably what's going to happen at the end of the day if the team really did that for Carson Wentz. I think going big picture for this, I look at last year, the Vikings letting Sam Darnold walk as a big malpractice because Darnold's a huge reason why they got to the playoffs last season. And they let him walk for nothing. And now he's got the Seahawks in a 5-2 position. They're at top of the division. And the Vikings, meanwhile, are 3-4. They are at the bottom of their own division. And we still don't know if JJ McCarthy is the guy or not. Like that, I think that's the whole big picture about this team right now. No one really knows where they're going from here.
Yeah, it really is a shame, and I guess we can talk about this more as the season goes on. But let's talk about an incredible comeback from the Jets. As everyone heard, Nick Mangold sadly passed away this
Yes.
weekend after a long battle of chronic kidney disease at 41 years old, way too young. And the Jets, on the afternoon they make the announcement, makes one of the biggest comebacks in their franchise history. Nick, how about you break it down?
Yeah, I mean, an incredible game because let's face facts, the Bengals were controlling this game for 3 quarters. And the fourth quarter, once it started, you got the sense that something was changing in the right way for this Jets team. Who, remember, we're going into this game as the only winless team in football. They were 0-7 going into this game. And going into the fourth quarter, you saw breakout performances from a lot of big players. You know, Brees Hall looked like the old Brees Hall that we saw in his first couple seasons with the Jets. Justin Fields looked like the guy we saw coming out of Ohio State. A monster performance from him, especially in that fourth quarter. Their defense finally was making some big stops against Joe Flacco and that Bengals offense. And they pull off a stunning win. They come back, get the touchdown on a weird passing play where Brees Hall gets the handoff. He looks like he's going to run. He then throws it and gives a touchdown to Mason Taylor. Hall accounts for 133 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns, and of course that passing touchdown. And the Jets, on a day that was obviously playing for one of their best players in franchise history, Nick Mangold, they get the job done. They get the victory 39-38. They get their first win of the season. And I think if you're an ex-Jets fan, there probably gets more than content with how this game went. Because remember, going into this game also, Johnson, I should have prefaced this too. Going into this game, there was the comments from Woody Johnson about the status of the team, the status at quarterback. And it looked like they were going to bench Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor. Taylor came up with the injury report midweek, so he was not going to be able to play this game. So Justin Fields, using those comments as motivation in this game, gets the job done and gets the win. And now the Jets, they go into their bye week at 1-7, but hey, you know what? It was a feel-good story for what they did on Sunday, getting the win for not only Mangold, but for themselves as well.
Yeah, it certainly was a victory to remember. If there's anything that can be remembered this season in a positive light, it's going to be this game.
And on the other side of things, too, this is a bad one for the Bengals because we're going to talk about in our next game in a second how it really impacts them in the AFC North because they could have been a half game out of first place with a victory in this game and a game that they probably should have won with ease. And they let it slip away to them and against a team that was barely averaging around 20 points per game on the season, and they put up 39 points. And keep in mind, no Garrett Wilson on the offensive side, no Sauce Gardner on the defensive side for them in this game. And the Jets are able to pull this off. So the Bengals, a really, really deflating loss. And now we'll have to see what happens to Joe Flacco because he got injured late in this game. So his status for Sunday is currently uncertain.
Yeah, and I won't speculate to that, but this would have been I was really starting to believe that Joe Flacco was going to keep this team afloat. And when Joe Burrow, if he can come back in like week 15 or something, even if they're 500, just sneak him into the playoffs, they have a chance. But it is very unfortunate. And you know what else is unfortunate? The Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin. They are on track again to go 9-8 one more season because the Packers have a big second half and they stunned the Steelers at home.
I mean, this was really a story of two halves in this game. The Steelers, to my opinion, they dominated the first half on both sides of the ball. The Packers really couldn't do much in the first half of this game. And then the second half started, and you saw the Packers flip the switch quickly on this team and just dominate on both sides. Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day, monster performance from him. You saw the defense really shutting down any Steelers offensive momentum they had. Aaron Rodgers was even saying that he had time, not a lot of time in the pocket. They had to do hard counts at their own home stadium because a lot of Packer fans were outnumbering the Steeler fans in this game, which is really something that you don't hear often for a Steelers home game. And Jordan Love was just sensational in this matchup too. Only 8 incompletions, 360 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Packers go to 5-1-1 now on the season with the victory. And we mentioned it earlier, the Steelers, they lose this game. They're now 4-3. And the good thing for them is that the Bengals lost that game earlier in the day to the Jets. But let's keep in mind too, I know right now they're still battling their injuries, but they've got a team also on the rise that if they get healthy the next couple weeks, Baltimore got a big win on Sunday against Chicago. They will get Lamar Jackson back on Thursday. The Steelers' lead is only right now a game and a half up on Cincinnati and 2 up on the Baltimore Ravens. So they have to be very careful these next couple weeks.
Got to be extremely careful. It could kind of slip away from them. I mean, it's very for the taking, but Baltimore's right there, and they're gonna try to make a comeback because they win a game without Lamar Jackson, and
Yeah.
4 weeks from now they could be sitting at the top of the AFC North with how crazy it's been.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're at the point where a team could go 9-8, and that probably gets you the division title for the AFC North. That's what it seems like.
I mean, right now Baltimore is still the betting favorite,
which is crazy.
So anything is possible.
Yeah, which is crazy to think that they are the betting favorite at 2-5. But I think it goes to Baltimore's schedule the next couple weeks is very favorable to them. And the Steelers, they have some tough games.
And they're going to get healthy at the right time.
Yeah, the Steelers have some tough games coming up too. We'll talk about one of their games upcoming later on in the Mushing Hour. But before we get into the Mushing Hour, we'll go into our final game of the week, Monday Night Football. Chiefs just dominate the Commanders, which is expected in my opinion. Marcus Mariota started this game. I did not expect much from him in the start, and he didn't play terribly. He had one interception that wasn't his fault because it hit off the face mask of Deebo Samuel and went right into the defender's arms. This game was just very ugly from the get-go, and the Chiefs dominated the second half of this one after it was tied 7-7 going into halftime. But it kind of made me regret not watching Game 3 of the World Series, which we'll talk about in a little bit of time during either this week or next week, depending on when that World Series ends. But that Game 3 of the World Series was so spectacular, and I regret watching a good portion of this Monday Night Football game instead of watching that game.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got 2 TVs and watch both, but you didn't miss anything by watching the football game. Trust me.
You did not miss much watching this game. It was just the Commanders. They're still missing J.D. Daniels.
I want to point out that there is Soviet levels of propaganda here at Patrick Mahomes because, again, he finished the game strong, great, but he played one of the worst first half of football I've ever seen from a quarterback.
Yeah, he didn't have a good first. I look at it like this: he had one bad interception, that first interception on his first drive. The second interception that goes off of Kelsey's hands, you can't really fault him for that one. I mean,
but the crazy thing is, the NFL and like the media, they're not even reporting this stuff. It's three touchdowns, 2 picks. I'm like, no, his decision making was so poor in the first half of his game. If the Commanders' offense wasn't so bad, if the Chiefs' defense wasn't strong, they would have pissed away this game again.
I think they based it off of what happened in the second half too, because the offense for the Chiefs looked a lot better than what they did in the first half. And
yeah, I'm aware, Nick. I know that's what they're basing it off of. But to just say, oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes had 3 touchdowns and 294 yards. Like, no, he threw 2 picks too. Like, you can't. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of crazy that they're doing this half-ass reporting. I know it's Chiefs propaganda, it's Eagles propaganda. They're trying to get Patrick Mahomes an MVP when there's more suitable candidates right now. But it is what it is. I'm done talking about this. I said beginning of the year, if by week 9 Patrick Mahomes doesn't have 16 touchdowns, there's a problem. He's got 17, so he's living up to expectations.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, I mean, getting back obviously Rice from the suspension was very, very helpful. They do lose Isaiah Pacheco in this game, so we'll see when he returns. It shouldn't be too long of an injury for him. But they have a good committee in the backfield that they could be fine for the next couple weeks. They also have a monster game upcoming this weekend that we'll also be talking about in just a few short moments when we get into now the mushing hour for week number 9. And Johnson, even though it was not a memorable week for some of the games that we had talked about earlier on, both of us had a very profitable week number 8 in the National Football League. I go, I think 6-1, 4-3 for you. So very respectable weeks for both of us. I can finally say now.
I picked it up a little
I
bit.
can finally say now I'm over 500 for on the season for football for one of the football. So I will gladly take it.
I'm still 10 games under, so I'll get there.
I mean, listen,
But I'm 10 games over in college.
Another good week this week, and I think it's right there for the taking. It is certainly right there for the taking. So let's start off with the first game of the week. It is Thursday Night Football. It is the Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. Baltimore, a 7.5-point favorite. 50.5 the over-under. Both teams coming off big wins, Johnson, on Sunday. Big story, of course, is Lamar Jackson is officially, we thought he was going to be back last Sunday against the Bears. He is now officially going to play this Thursday against Miami. What is your pick?
I just can't see the Ravens losing this. They have to cover too. Ravens my 7.5. The Dolphins have been so hit or miss depending on what Tua was doing that day. 4 picks one week, 4 touchdowns the other. So give me Ravens minus 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We kind of got lucky because we picked Baltimore minus 6.5 when we thought it was going to be Lamar Jackson, and then Snoop Huntley comes up as starting quarterback. And Baltimore, to their credit, still covered that game. They played a really strong game against the Bears.
I mean, it was the Bears. Let's be real.
Caleb Williams.
It's not like they're world leaders.
Did not look good in that start. That's very concerning if you're a Bears fan. And Huntley was actually serviceable. It boggles my mind that they were playing Cooper Rush instead of him. It made no sense.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by that.
No sense whatsoever because he knows the system. Why would you play Cooper Rush? It made no sense. And look, they probably
left over. I don't know what to tell you.
You could make the argument they probably could be either the same record as the Bengals, or they might be a game behind Pittsburgh, or they might be either tie with Pittsburgh or a game behind Pittsburgh if they start Huntley. Either way, I pick it Baltimore myself.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to our second game now. We have the Chicago Bears on the road taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Bears on the road are 2.5-point favorite. 50.5 is the slated over-under. I'm going Bengals plus 2.5 here.
So let me ask, if Flacco plays, obviously you feel good about that.
The Bears are bad.
If
the Bears are pretty bad, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take the Bengals to cover no matter what.
Even if Browning does play, you still like the Bengals in this game?
If Jake Browning plays, I still will take the Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This game kind of sucks because the Bears are reeling right now the last couple weeks, and I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know what the Bengals are gonna be. If they have Flacco playing, I feel better. If they don't have Flacco, I don't feel good about this game. So originally I was gonna pick the Bears. I'm gonna just change my pick to the under, which is crazy to pick in a Bengals game.
There you go.
But these two offenses are a big question mark going into this game right now. So I'm just going to play it safe and take the under for that one on Sunday in Cincinnati. Our next game is a big divisional matchup. The Vikings at the Lions. The Lions 8.5-point favorite, 48.5 the over-under. J.J. McCarthy is back, Johnson, and funny enough, he'll be making his first start as a Vikings quarterback in Michigan against the Detroit Lions. Does he get the job done?
It's a great story, but he doesn't get the job done here. That's Lions minus 8.5. That's a lock.
I am with you on that. I still haven't seen. I want to see McCarthy progress. Hopefully in this game,
I need to see some concrete.
Yeah,
proof.
but the Lions are well rested. The Vikings looked really bad in that game against the Chargers, so I have to take the Lions in this spot on Sunday in Detroit.
All right, and that brings us to our next game. We have the Denver Broncos going on the road into NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Texans are 1.5-point favorites at home, and the over-under slated at a putrid 39.5. Give me the Broncos to cover. They're clearly a very talented team. They have the tenacity for comebacks. They got a young superstar quarterback. They have good wide receivers. Their run game is solid. Give me the Broncos.
Can I just say the Texans are the most confusing team in all football?
They are, and that's why I'm taking the Broncos, because they are less confusing.
I picked them against Seattle because of what we were talking about 2 weeks ago, saying, this is a good defense. Stroud and company could get the job done. They look terrible in that game. Then on Sunday, they don't have Nico Collins. They don't have Christian Kirk. And yet they pretty much dominate the 49ers in that game, and they won outright easily. So now you go into this game, and they're the favorite again in this one against a Broncos team that, as you mentioned, is playing really good. I don't like my better judgment on this game. I'm going to take the Texans minus 1.5. I don't know why. I don't like it.
All right, we'll see.
Like I said, they're just very confusing to pick right now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Our next game, big matchup in the AFC. The Colts go on the road to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Colts minus 3.5, 49.5 the over-under.
Give me Colts minus 3.5 here. I don't trust the Steelers even at home.
I am right with you on that one. Colts, I mean, they're the best team in football right now. They're playing like it.
They are. And I would be surprised if they make a Super Bowl.
I mean, you got two guys playing at MVP caliber level, and Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, Taylor's not going to win it because he's a running back, but he's playing like an MVP caliber player. And their defense is playing really strong, and the Steelers are reeling right now going into this game. That this is a bad matchup for them going in on Sunday. So I'm with you on the Colts as well in that matchup. What's our next game?
Next game is probably game of the week. We have the Chiefs at the Bills. Chiefs are 1.5 point favorite on the road. Wild stat. And over on the slate of 53.5. Chiefs are going to lose this game. Bills are going to cover. Give me Bills plus 1.5. This is the easiest one we have on the list here.
Yeah, it's a game that I know you're looking forward to much because you love these two teams, obviously.
Well, if the Chiefs lose, I win. And if the Bills win, I win too because we still have a division lead. So,
who do you guys have this week? Atlanta?
Yes, we have
probably
Atlanta.
Should win that game.
I think we're at Atlanta.
You should probably.
That'll be a tough game. Atlanta's isn't
if
really
Kirk Cousins
bad.
starts
They're
again, you probably
team.
should win.
Oh, I guess we'll find out.
They look terrible against the Dolphins. I'm gonna pick Buffalo in this game too. This is the game, Johnson, where I need to see the Bills do something, and what I mean by that is this: obviously, they're a good team, but early on in the year, before their bye week, they had those little games against Miami and teams like the Saints, where they couldn't put them away. The game kept getting close, and it took them a little bit in the midway point of the fourth quarter to finally get away from those teams and get the job done. Last week is the game that we finally saw this team break out. They took advantage of a very bad Panthers team with a backup quarterback in Andy Dalton. Defense looks solid. They're unbelievable game for James Cook. Josh Allen did another solid game from him. A couple touchdowns as well in that game for him. I think 2 rushing and 1 passing. And you go into the game against the Chiefs team that's playing unbelievable football right now. This is the game that they always mark on their calendar every single year. And with it being in Buffalo, I'm going to give them the advantage in this game with that home environment. Like I said, I would like to see them find a way to stop this Chiefs offense because a lot of people are saying that this team is pretty much looking like the old Chiefs offensive teams that we've seen in years past. Buffalo finds a way to stop that offense. It's going to be a really telling sight that Buffalo can get back into that race of being the team to beat in the AFC. So I'll take the Bills as well, plus 1.5. Then we go into our final 2 games of the week. We start off on Sunday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks at the Washington Commanders. Seahawks minus 3.5, 47.5 the over-under.
Seahawks minus 3.5. Do we figure out what's going on with Jane Daniels, Deebo Samuel?
McLaurin is out.
Scary Terry. It's crazy with all the injuries. So until we get some stability, I give you Seahawks minus 3.5.
Yeah, the Seahawks are. It's tough to pick against them in this spot because, as you mentioned, all the injuries for Washington right now on the offensive side of the ball. I think Jane Daniels is going to start. Even if he does, he's playing a very tough defense. He's now going to be out with Terry McLaurin, so you're going to have Deebo Samuel be that top option in the passing game. They don't really have a running game that they could be relying on right now. Like it's so hit or miss every single week. So I'm going to take the Seahawks minus 3.5 as well. I just can't really trust the Commanders at this point in the season with the injuries that they have. And then, Johnson, let's round out the week on Monday Night Football.
We've got Cardinals at Cowboys going into Jerry World. Cowboys are 2.5-point favorite. 53.5 is the slated over under. Cowboys win -2.5 in the boring game on Monday night. They win
Why is this Monday Night
10-7.
Football?
Because on paper, this was good in April.
Was it?
I mean, the Cowboys always exciting, whatever. And the
Cardinals
kind of had Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, they had Marvin Harrison Jr. and they had a couple new
we
pieces.
know this.
Trey
this
McBride's
song
exciting.
dance with the Cardinals every single year.
Yeah. I'm giving you the reasoning behind. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with. I'm just telling you what the logic was behind making.
You know how
Monday
bad this game is? I'm gonna make a statement I never thought I would say. This game is so bad. I actually wish there was double Monday Night Football.
That's a lie.
I'm not even kidding.
That's just an absolute lie.
We went on that rant weeks ago that we hate this. This game alone makes me want double Monday Night Football because at least I can watch something else. At least I can watch a different game than this game.
Sounds like you're queuing up Monday Night Raw or whatever NBA game is on.
there is no.
Sounds like
there is no debate about that.
Like November 3rd, it sounds like you're watching St. John's home opener. St. John's versus Quinnipiac at 6:30, and then at halftime, you got to turn that off and put the next game on.
Isn't this game on the 4th, though? Monday Night Football's on the 4th.
It's on the 3rd, isn't it? No.
Monday Night Football's on the 4th, I thought. Am I doing my math wrong?
Monday Night Football is on... It's on the 3rd.
I had doing my math wrong. Why is ESPN say... You know what happened? ESPN threw me off because it says when you look at the scores for each week, it says the dates of the week. So it says October 29th to November 4th, but there's no game on November 4th.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's November 3rd.
Okay. Either way,
St. John's home opener.
I'll watch the St. John's home opener instead of this game. No offense. Cowboys -2.5. I usually pick the over for these games when the Cowboys are playing, but if 53.5 is a lot when the Cardinals are the opposing team, I can't, with good judgment, take the over in this game. So I'll take the Cowboys. They should, if they don't beat the Cardinals, they've got a problem. They've got a major problem. They should win this game. They should win this game by 20. But knowing them, they probably won't.
I agree.
So Cowboys -2.5. So, I'm with you on that final pick of the day.
So that wraps up the mushing hour, Nick, and I don't have anything else to say. Unless you've got
Football
something.
Sucks.
Take us home.
Football sucks.
I agree.
They just had to have Cam Scatterboot get hurt, right?
Hey, it happens, man. Injuries are part of a game. Better luck next year.
Malik Neighbors and Scatterboot in one season. Who has it?
Means you get tanked for an offensive lineman.
Who has it worse than me right now?
At
least the Jets could celebrate a win.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I could say left is hopefully this week is better than last week. Like I said, the fact that there was one game that was a single-digit final was insane. I think I saw the stat. I think they mentioned this on the Pat McAfee show. I think that was like the first time since 1970 that's been the case, where every single game was double-digit final, and the rest, it was only one game that was a one-possession score. Something crazy like that.
It won't happen again.
It definitely won't happen again. So yeah, we'll see. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of the All Gas No Break Sports Show, week number 8 in the books. And hopefully, as I mentioned, we have a better week number 9 of this NFL season. And boy, do we have a loaded slate going into week number 9 this upcoming weekend. You have the Colts and the Steelers. You have the Chiefs at the Bills. Seahawks at the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. And then the week will round out with Monday Night Football, Cardinals and Cowboys. Yeah, I know that my enthusiasm for that game doesn't really show with the way I'm talking about it. But nonetheless, it should be a fun week number 9 in the National Football League. For Nicholas Pavona and Andrew Johnson, this has been the All Gas No Break Sports Show. Have a great rest of your week.